And I want to bring in Bob Cox. He is a professor at the University of South Carolina in the Political Science Department. Professor, thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me.
No problem. So we've been hearing about the Ukraine and Russia situation for the past couple of days, but some people may not know how we've gotten to this point. So tell us how we got to the point that we are today.
Well, it depends on how far back you want to go, but in general, in the year 2014, Vladimir Putin moved into eastern Ukraine and then in the southern part called Crimea, and basically took control of Crimea, and since then has supported a separatist movement in other eastern parts of Ukraine. At the time, he was roundly condemned, but Western countries didn't really take strong action. So in a sense, he got away with it. And so in a sense, what we see now is the next step in a movement to take over a neighboring country.
So now the European Union as well as the NATO allies will have to work together bigger than they've worked together before, right?
It calls upon them to work together. And right now the problem is that there are some differences of opinion. The good news is they have come together in a much stronger way this time than they did 8 years ago. But we would hope there's still some differences of opinion among all the different allies that lead them to be more cautious than they might otherwise.
So, Professor, this conflict is going on halfway across the world. So why should we be concerned here in Georgia and South Carolina about what's going on in Ukraine?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One is that the challenge that Vladimir Putin has laid down is not just a challenge to his neighboring countries. He's been very, very consistent in criticizing the West as a principle, and so Western countries, he seeks in many ways to undermine the stability of Western countries, both internally and by changing the world order. And this is one effort to change the world order.
So how would this look on a daily basis for us in our normal everyday lives?
The conflict in Ukraine is part of a bigger problem that involves, it's a threat to the NATO alliance in a sense, because one of the criticisms that Vladimir Putin has made is that NATO is he views it as a threat to Russia. It's a threat to global stability, and right now in a time of COVID, when we experience how important global supply chains, how integrated they are, global supply chains work better when countries are all working well together. And right now, when one country's at war or hostile activities with another country, but in general, just aggressive relations with the rest of the neighbors, it causes problems. As we experience it right now, we see rising gas prices as a result of it. So some of the inflationary trends we've seen are exacerbated by this conflict.
So what's the best case scenario with this entire conflict?
Well, the best case scenario, unfortunately, is probably not likely, but it would be for Vladimir Putin to withdraw his forces from Ukraine and allow Ukraine to run its own affairs.
Well, Professor Cox, thank you so much for joining me.